So Damian Lillard has gone to the Milwaukee Bucks in a blockbuster trade that also includes. Let's bring it up, why don't we now? This is the blockbuster trade. The Suns get Grayson Allen, Keon Johnson, and Nasir Little, and also Yusuf Nurkic. The Bucks get Damian Lillard, and then the Blazers get a huge bag. They get Drew Holiday. They got Tumani Kamara. They got DeAndre Ayton, and then they get one first-round pick unprotected, and then 2 first-round pick swap rights if they want. So it's pretty big trade, blockbuster trade, a lot of moving pieces. The shocker, I would say, is Dame didn't go to Miami, which is really the only destination he said he wanted to go to. And I'm going to talk about there's some interesting developments with the Damian Lillard situation. So I want to know, just straight up, what is your reaction to this trade? And do you think anyone lost in this trade situation?
Now, put it back up on the screen there. So a lot of players involved. I said originally it would take 3 teams to get it done. I thought it was 3 teams to get it done for him to wind up in Miami. But it took 3 teams to get it done to have him move to the Bucks, and I think it really changes the dynamic in the NBA Eastern Division, right? With Lillard playing with the Bucks team, which is I think pretty loaded with players, big players, right? They got
Bobby Portis,
Giannis, and Brook Lopez, yeah. So. That's a loaded team, I think. And with him added, wow, I think they're the team to be beat in the East now. This really upsets things for the Celtics and for the Heat. And I think that the Bucks will be the number 1 seed. They were last year, right? Even without Damian Lillard. Yeah. They were the number 1 seed. So I think they've kind of secured that spot. And I think I think it was a great move for them because it makes Giannis happy. He said that he loves being in Milwaukee, but he wants to play for a team that's going to compete for a championship every year, and they made the move to make that happen. I think, put the players back up there again. So you asked me who the winners and losers were here. I think the Bucks are a big winner, right? I think the Blazers did okay. I think they'll probably trade Drew Holiday to somebody else, right? Yeah. I've heard that's the plan anyway. Ayton is a good player. He's somebody they're going to hang on to, right, and build around. And the picks look pretty good, right? There could be the pick swaps are with which teams? They're with the Bucks or with the Suns? I would say if they're with the Bucks, well, 28 and 30, that's ways off. So who knows how good those teams will be now?
From then,
yeah. So. I don't know how good those teams will be then. Right now, pick swap of the Bucks wouldn't be worth much. They're probably going to be in the NBA Finals next year. So I think the Suns. It didn't look to me like they made out the best of the 3, but maybe they were trying to dump Ayton's salary, right?
Could be.
Yeah, and so it's really interesting. I think it was pretty creative. I think the Bucks did a very good move, and we'll see what happens.
I'll say this. The Suns, what they got is Grayson Allen. I think he shoots like 40% from 3. So they got bench scoring. That's the thing we saw in the playoffs last season was that they had no bench outside of KD and Booker, and Chris Paul eventually went down. But outside of those 3, Ayton was he didn't have that motor and that drive to succeed. It seemed he was a very soft big man. So to get Nurkic in to replace him and then get the bench scoring, I think that's a decent win. I'd probably give them a B on that. Yeah. A B on that level. Portland, they're not focused on right now. They're going to move Drew Holiday off because they got a plethora of guards. Anthony Simons, they got Shaedon Sharpe, and they also drafted Scoot Henderson. So that they have a lot of guards. They don't need another guard. The big thing I hear, I think it's honestly, Ayton is a good pickup for the Blazers. Now, while he's not a physical big man that you probably need, he gives you 20 and 10, and you're happy with it. Nurkic is like a 15 and 9 guy, so you're getting some of the same production. You actually get better defense with Nurkic on the Suns, which I think the Suns would need because their scores already are Bradley Beal, KD, and Devin Booker. You don't need a scorer at the big man. And so I think with DeAndre Ayton, he'll get his touches with Portland because they needed a big man. They needed a big man who could defend. Now, Ayton's not a great defender, but you at least get some defense. And then The picks, that's going to be years from now. I think that's where the Blazers will start to win is down the line when you use those first round picks, which are unprotected, which is huge. You have 3 unprotected first round picks. That's where the Blazers are going to start to win that part of the trade. Right now, Milwaukee is in win now mode. I think they were already in win now mode because of Giannis's comments saying that if you don't, basically to the Bucks organization, if you don't show the same dedication to winning as I do, I'm going to be gone at the end of this season. So that's where I think getting Dame Lillard, at least for now, is a major win. But I'm going to say this. I'm going to give a round of applause to the to the Portland Blazers GM, owner, and everyone working around that trade to not stoop down just to give him away to the Heat. To show some guts and some gall, to not to just give him away because Dame might be, unhappy if he's not traded to the Heat. First of all, that was never Portland's problem if Dame was going to be unhappy with if it were to be, I don't know, the Raptors or anyone else. That's not the Blazers' problem. They're trying to get the most they can for it, and that's exactly what they did. They focused on their future, which is huge, and so I got to give a round of applause to the Blazers there. Mm-hmm. What's actually interesting about the situation, and I just saw this recently, was that the Blazers GM, Joe Cronin, he was obviously wasn't a fan when Dame only said trade me to the Heat. When that started to fall through, very recently, where the Heat were never really an option for the Blazers, Dame was actually about to be perfectly content with staying in Portland. However, the Blazers GM said, "Nope, go, you're gone. There's no salvaging this." And so he basically said, I think that's pretty shocking how even though Dame was about to be content if he didn't get his way to come back to Portland, the Blazers GM's like, no, we're done with you. We're done with you. I think that's not on the same level because it seemed like Rodgers was a little bit, he was mad at Green Bay, but it's kind of the same thing where he wanted out. So Green Bay's like, okay, you want out? We're going to shove you out. Yeah. No coming back here.
Right.
So I got to hand it to the Portland Trailblazers to not just give in to Dame's demands because guess what? I understand he's been very loyal to you, but he wanted out. He signed an extension with you. He could have been a free agent. He signed an extension with you and then decided he didn't want to play for you anymore. So I got to give props to the Trailblazers GM, owner, whoever else worked on that trade.
I agree 100%. And I think another thing that's kudos to them is Dame's really going to a place that I think he'll be happy.
Right.
And he sounds like he's not criticizing it at all. He says, I'm anxious to begin my new career here.
And if you're upset with going with Giannis and Chris Middleton and Brooke and that, I mean, that team had bad luck in the playoffs last year. They just kind of blew it. Now they have a new coach, so I think they are a championship caliber team for 100%, sure. And they are currently NBA Finals favorites, as they should be. But I mean, yes, okay, it's not the same weather as Miami. I completely understand that. But hell,
that's for sure.
I would say right now, hands down, at this current moment, because the Heat still might get Drew Holiday if the Blazers move off him. That could still work out. But as the team is currently constructed, the Heat are not a top 8 team in the NBA. So the fact that you're going to now probably the best team in the NBA, I would say is very close if you're talking about top to bottom with Denver, because they just won the NBA title. But if you take a look at this roster with Dame, with Bobby Portis, with Brook Lopez, with Giannis, of course, with Chris Middleton if he stays healthy, I mean, this is probably the best team in the NBA. So if you're upset with going to Milwaukee, maybe because, I don't know, it's colder, I mean, give me a break. But it sounds like he's excited to play. I mean, I would. If I'm Dame Lillard and I'm going to a team that right now with me on it is going to be easily the best team in the NBA, I'd be happy because I'm probably going to finally win a championship.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Dame better not be disappointed, but I think the Blazers, the Suns, it's kind of a win now mode, but on a lesser scale because they're not obviously the same team as Milwaukee. The Bucks obviously are win now mode. They're trying to keep Giannis there for as long as possible because he's already voiced his displeasure twice now. And then the Blazers, I think this is more of a future thing. They're going to trade Drew Holiday, probably get, I don't know if you'll get a first-round pick, but you'll get a lot of assets. I would say you get a decent amount of assets back for a very good defensive point guard.
Drew Holiday is not young, though.
No, I think he's 33 years old.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to be going to the Heat, do you? I mean, the Blazers and the Heat, there's some bad blood there now, I would think.
Well, what's very interesting...
And who would the Heat have to trade for him?
Well, that's the big thing.
I mean, they said they didn't like Hero.
Correct.
Right?
So I guarantee you they're probably not going to be like, okay, we'll take Hero now.
Who are the Heat going to get now? Who's available? I don't know what they're going to do. I think they're in a tough spot.
Well, what I found really interesting is when we talked about this, the Heat in this Dame trade were never going to give up Jimmy Butler or Bam Adebayo, but that was really their trading piece, because the Blazers didn't want Tyler Hero because you don't need another guard. They already have 3 really good guards. One very promising rookie, another I think he's 20 years old. He's showed some promise in Shaedon Sharpe. And then you have Anthony Simons, who's a good guard. So you have a really, really good guards. To add a 4th guard, a bench guard that could score, you didn't really need that. I just saw something yesterday, I believe, or the day before. The Blazers were asking for other Jimmy Butler or Bam in the trade because that makes sense. Dame is a guy who just dropped 30 points a game. You're not going to give him a bench player. You're not going to give him a guy who scores 10 points a game off the bench. No, it didn't make any sense. So that completely makes sense to me. So on the part of the Heat, this is unfortunate. On the part of Dame, I would say there's probably more than a 50% chance, easily more than a 50% chance, you'll at least be in the NBA Finals, which Dame has never gotten to. So, hands down to everyone around. I think the Suns did fine. The Blazers, they're on the future. And the Bucks, I mean, you're a Celtics guy. How does this make you feel that now you're going up against a team with Damian Lillard, Giannis, and all these other pieces?
I don't think the Celtics can beat them in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Let's say the Celtics get Drew Holiday. How do you feel about that?
Well, who would they give up to get him?
You would probably need to give up a pick, and my guess would be Malcolm Brogdon's still pissed off. Now, it sounded like that I'm hearing different things, but it could have been other around how his injury was handled, that elbow injury, or it could have been, he was put up in a trade, that Marcus Smart trade, or that would have been the Marcus Smart trade, but instead he didn't pass his physical. So it's either one of those, but he's still upset at the Celtics for some situation. So could he be up on the trading block? There's rumors about him being on the trading block for Drew Holiday.
Would you consider him a good enough trade to get Drew Holiday?
He averaged 40. I think he averaged 40 plus from 3. I mean, he just won 6th Man of the Year. So I think he should have been. I think he should be the starting point guard for the Celtics now over Derek White. But they decided not to.
The Blazers have the guards. So they don't really need more guards.
So you probably need to give up a big man or something like that.
Yeah, but who would that be?
That's a really good question. I wouldn't give up. He's too young, but he's also he can't stay healthy. I mean, Al Horford, I would feel like he's up there
too
in
old.
age.
They're not going to take him.
But that's why I would keep Robert Williams, is because he's a younger version. So
but they wouldn't take him in a trade anyway.
You would need to work it around, and maybe you would give up. I don't know. I saw Peyton Pritchard on the trading block potentially, but
they're going to look at him like they looked at Tyler Hero.
Exactly.
There's some more guards. It's got to be a forward.
Right. So that's why I think
the Celtics don't have a forward to give.
Right. Which is unfortunate because Drew Holiday is, you may say, a better Marcus Smart because he's that defensive point guard, but I think offensively he's better than Marcus Smart. Now maybe defensively he's not, because Marcus Smart recently won Defensive Player of the Year, but he's that defensive guard who has more offense maybe than Marcus Smart does. So I don't know.
That would help the Celtics so they could get him, but I don't see that happening.
It gives them a point guard that's been a point guard, more recent than 7 years ago, like Derek White. But we'll have to wait and see. But this is a pretty big trade, and the Eastern Conference, I don't know. The Bucks may be taking over.
Yeah, what do you think the Heat are going to do? What are they going to do? They're in a tough spot now.
Yeah,
I mean, most of the trades have been made. I don't see them plucking any big player away from another team right now.
Well, we talked about it not too long ago. I think Chris Mannix, I may get the reporter wrong, but we saw that he said pencil in the Heat for maybe 10th place. And that's what we're looking at. The Heat are not a great team. They were already the lowest scoring team per game last season. And that was with Gabe Vincent and all these people. I think they lost Max Strus and they lost Gabe Vincent.
And didn't they lose Duncan Robinson too?
No, I think he's still there. I think he's still there. Oh. But still, though, you gave up your starting point guard. Kyle Lowry, he's 38 years old, 38 years old. So I don't know if he'll be starting. I doubt he's starting. So we have no idea what the Heat may be. But right now, they're not a good team.
No, then maybe they have to go to Europe or someplace to pick up a player. I don't know.
It's going to be interesting to see just how
they lost those 2 players and they haven't replaced them at all. So they're down players right now, it seems like. And I don't see what's out there for them to get.
There's not much. And they don't have much to trade if they want to go out and get somebody.
Right. So it's
they never did, which made this trade. If the Trailblazers had more than half a brain cell, which they clearly do, they pulled off a great trade. They wouldn't just bow down to the Heat just because Dame wanted to go there. That's what I was saying the entire time.
They didn't do it. They got it done with a team that is going to compete for the championship, and they made the player they gave up happy. And they got quite a bit in return. So I think they did a very good job.
People were saying send Dame to a contender like the Heat, just where they made the NBA Finals. I would say they sent him to more of a contender this year than the Heat would have been if
I think Damian Lillard should be very happy with that trade.
I would too. I go to
Except,
one of the
maybe he won't like Milwaukee as well as Miami Beach.
Yeah, Milwaukee ain't no Miami, I'll tell you that much. But hey, a pretty good trade all around, a blockbuster trade. And I gotta love some breaking news. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, if you want to check out the full episode, make sure you click the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to listen to this show anywhere you go, make sure you go to anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour or anywhere you get your podcasts.